Okay, so welcome back to my channel. So I do have this web series that I'm continuing today, American Oxygen, the music video by Rihanna that was released in 2017. In this episode, we will be talking about the fake Jews, what we call Jews today, but are not. They're actually from the synagogue of Satan. So we're talking about all these costumes, the magician costume that is actually tied to the clown costumes. We're talking about the different characters in the US culture, and the United States of America, the American culture, in other words. And also, yes, we do talk about subliminals and the language with images, colors, and words. So if that interests you, keep on watching.
911, what's your emergency?
Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight.
So let's start with this pretty important verse. So Ephesians 6:12 says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." So this is the theme verse of American Oxygen, the music video review. Okay, so we have left off. Okay, so during the last episode, we have left off with this image right here, the family structure. Okay, so the family structure, we've talked about race, the new structure of family. Now the question is, what is a woman? And this shouldn't be even a discussion, since even babies, since they're very young age, they do distinguish their dad from their mother. Then we talked about the Kardashian family, which was they were used as an image for social media in order to implement this new ideal in people's mind. Okay, we have talked about the gray fashion. So fashion is very important when it comes to communication. The colors also. Arizona, Phoenix, Texas, these places are pretty important. We've discovered that Barbie is actually a trans or a man. Okay, so we have talked about the suit, okay, the new fashion, wearing a suit. Also, we've talked about the art of Basquiat, the testosterone, the colors, and also the blue and pink. The Rihanna's newborn, who's known as Riot Rose, and we know that currently there's a lot of riot happening, all based on gender war, race war, and whatever. Spirit, the livings versus the dead, the infiltrators. And I also referred to the music video by A$AP Rocky that is titled Babushka Boy. Then fentanyl, Fenty stands for fentanyl in the streets, which is the number one killer, the euphoria drug. And we've talked about the sacrifice of baby through pills, okay? The drag race, the pill that looks like candy, honestly. And this is all a image and tactic to attract the youth, because the youth seems to be the target market. The symbols that are used, the face of maman, because all this is serving maman. All the surgery, the clinics, the pharmaceutical business behind is all in the aim to make money, to serve maman. Okay, and there's this verse that says, It's either you serve Mammon or you serve Jesus, God, who owns actually the earth. You can't serve two masters because you will hate one or another. Okay, then we talked about the colors. Okay, so Romans 1:25-26, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. So now women are used for prostitution, and they're meant to carry Nephilim's babies. Okay, so we talk about the fake children actors. I'm not going to go over this because I already covered it in the previous episode. And of course, the symbol of the Olympic, which turned out to be a gender war symbol that has to do with dark matter. And when we talk about dark, we're not talking about the skin color per se, but more about black magic, which is the same as white magic. So all this war that is black versus white, it's like a chess game, okay? You're playing with yourself. It's like playing both sides. So speaking of family and the creation of man, because we know that God, his creation is man made of earth, and he blew the breath of life into man's nostrils. But there's also this other side where the fallen angels made babies with fleshly women. And this verse says, flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that commits fornication sin against his own body. Okay, so this is where we left. Okay, so we sweat for a nickel and a dime. That means that you're working for Mammon, turning into an empire. Whoa, whoa. So this is the empire in the music video. Okay, so this is literally like, this is the image that they're putting, and this is the verse that comes. So I synchronized the still image and the lyrics. Okay, so we know that Rihanna is part of the Pharaoh couple. She represents Nefertiti, the beauty. Like, think of Fenty Beauty, okay, fentanyl. It's all subliminals. And then Akhenaten, who was her husband, known as Aten, worship of the sun god. Think of Sunday. And the week of the day were named after the Roman gods, okay, the pagan gods, so-called gods, or a demon, in other words. And Akhenaten was known as the emperor who established the sun worship. So instead of worshipping being polytheist, he decided to be monotheist. But the thing is, it's still a demon god, so they're still following a false god. And also the idea behind this regime is to work, and which something that is ironic is that work she repeated 6 times. And we know that the 6th day of the week is known to be the Sabbath day, Saturn, Sabbath. The 6th day, Saturday, that we know as Saturday. And they've changed Saturday for Saturn. But think about it, the 7th day is the day of rest. Some people argue that Saturday is the 7th day, but Saturday is named after Saturn, and Saturn is known to be the 6th planet, so that's ironic. But also the dates, the calendars, all these were modified. So even like arguing with Sunday and Saturday is vile, because in maybe the 7th day of the week could be Wednesday, who knows? Okay. Then also God says in the word, remember the Sabbath day. And he said that, I believe, in Matthew, as if he knew we would forget about the Sabbath. Okay, so turning into an empire. So you see the people walking, these are men, or seems like men. Maybe they're coming from war, I don't know. But the Jubilee, I think the Jubilee is the 6th month, so it's in the month of June. The pagans call it Juneteenth, and they I think Juneteenth is celebrated on the 19th. So the Jubilee represents people going back to their land, going back to their family, to their wife, going back to their possession, at least in the Bible, okay, in the word of truth. But yes, so in their case, the Jubilee, how it was celebrated in the Romans, when the Romans were reigning, or not reigning, but when they were, when they had power. So they would, of course, they would celebrate Juneteenth by wearing a black face. So it's very common to see in comedies, especially in the early days of cinema. I believe Warner Bros., you'd realize that the first movies they produced were musical comedy, and the actor was wearing a black face. And it was as a way to laugh at the Jews, okay? But today, the blackface is not exactly as we knew it before. Now it's more sophisticated, and sometimes you are looking at a black person, but behind is literally a white person. So they're using latex masks, prosthetic, and so on and so forth, okay? And think of the rhinoplasty, the nose. Think of the Sphinx, the statue of the Sphinx in so-called Egypt. So the nose is missing. But when you look at the Egyptian pharaoh in Las Vegas, you see the very thin, pointy nose. So this reference in this image is, I know thy works, Revelation 2:9, okay? I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. And this is pretty interesting because the Bible is literally talking about what we are living today. It's as if God knew the day coming. Also, another thing is, in the Bible, there's this book that is called Cantique des Cantiques. And the first verse, the first chapter of the book says, I am black, but the sun has burnt me. And this is speaking about the daughter of Jerusalem. It's like a love letter between Solomon and a woman. And she describes herself as black. Okay, and God is the only one who knows the future. Satan doesn't, and neither humans, nor demons. Okay, so think of the hat, the suit, okay? Think of Bugs Bunny. Warner Bros., like I said, they were the first to actually come out with movies where the white were wearing blackface. So it's like a déguisement, a masquerade in other words. And let's keep in mind that Warner, their target market are families, okay? And think of the family structure. So all these fake Jews are so-called returning to their people. So was that during World War I or World War II? One of them. But I do have a video that is called Astral City movie review where I talk about it a little more. Okay, so let's talk about the suit. Let's talk about the dressing, okay? So some people don't know, but the suit that we know of today, okay, what we wear as, okay, suits. So it comes from the character of the clown, okay? And some people, who was the first clown? I can't remember the actor's name, okay? It's not coming now. I think it's Edson.
The character they portrayed was named Jim Crow, a city dandy, which was a counterpart to the southern plantation darky known as Sambo. The name Jim Crow was popularized by performer T.D. Rice, who was inspired by an old man he saw dancing in the street.
But there was an actor who played the role of the clown. At first, he was presenting himself as dressed and properly, like very sloppy clothing. But then he rebranded the character and decided to present himself as a gentleman. Okay, but whether you're dressed as a gentleman or you're dressed as a, let's say, a homeless person, you're still a clown, okay? The dressing doesn't change anything. Whatever how you present yourself, the character behind is still the same. So let's think of Charlie Chaplin. So he was known, very famous, because he was doing movies where there is no sound, only music. So it's pretty universal. So no matter what language you speak, you still understand the scenery because they were using movements, music, exaggeration. He was a pretty sloppy character from my remembrance. He was like a fool, but at the same time, he had some sort of common sense. Okay, so he was like the first clown, the first international clown on television that we know of. So see the suit that he's wearing, it seems pretty small, okay? It's not like properly fitting. And seems like the character is wearing a mask, okay? Some people don't really pay attention to this when they talk about Charlie Chaplin, but he's wearing a mask. And I believe I read an article that was saying that the original Charlie Chaplin was actually an Israelite. They say they're Jews, but they're the synagogue of Satan. Anyway, okay, so today we can also observe the same fashion with the Met Gala. And the Met Gala, I talk about it, it's more like a masquerade. It's related to the museum in New York, and it's related to costume, to Anna Wintour, who also has a part or a section that is only dedicated to costumes.
Woman has been the co-chair of the Met Gala since 1995, and here to tell us more is Dame Anna Wintour, who also helped me with my look, and I'm so grateful.
You look amazing.
Thank you. Now, what are you most inspired by when it comes to this year's historic exhibition celebrating Black men's fashion?
Well, I've been very, very inspired by seeing how much it means to the Black community, and I think it's full of creativity. It's putting a spotlight on amazing Black talent. I think it's about self-respect and joy and confidence and liberation. And at this moment in our political history, I think it's incredibly important
to
stand next to the Black community, and I'm sure that it will be very well attended, and I'm so looking forward to hearing what our visitors have to say.
Yes, we're so excited to be here. All right, and this year's exhibition is the first in 22 years to focus exclusively on menswear. So how do you think men's fashion has changed most in the last 2 decades?
Well, I think it's completely changed. I think it's become so much more imaginative and creative and risk-taking and fearless and fun, and which is what the exhibition is all about. So I think Andrew and Monica's brilliance in seeing that and understanding that, but looking at it through the lens of Black menswear and Black style and incredible Black creative dandies like our friend Andre. I mean,
and we all know what you do every first Monday in May, but what does the first Tuesday in May look like for you?
It's usually just a blank. Thank you for asking. Foot massages. I remember that.
Foot massages. Yes, we got foot massages. I love that. Well, we're honored to be here, and thank you for bringing this to life. Thank you so much. All right, have a wonderful time tonight.
'Cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough.
What up? What up? All the world. You getting it? Look at these shoes. Man. You see these shoes?
Every outfit is an argument.
Across the seas in many ways, and really got inspiration from sort of the Moors, like Othello the Moor, and people who, you know, and kings and things like that. And also the color blue. The blue was also a color that when we were doing our research with Monica, when she was telling me that a freed slave wanted to wear his finest blue, superfine wool suit.
Wow.
And I thought the color blue is perfect for tonight. Yeah. And also I feel like it gives you choir, it gives you king, it gives you all those moments. And it's a little nod to Andre Leon Talley as well. There's a great photo of him actually at the Met Gala with the beautiful blue cape, as he would always do.
You always know what to do, and you always know what to say.
I'm picking up everything you are putting down. I'm clocking all of it. You look fantastic.
Yes.
You really do.
Yes.
So I think it's interesting also how they're placed. You see the purple, you see the blue. So the Chaldeans, they're giving glory to the Chaldeans. But in the middle, you have the interviewer, then you have Tiana Taylor. So I think that's a very interesting composition. So he was on the side of Anna Wintour. So it seems like he's the model, the king, or however, whatever.
Yes, we will see you in there.
Yeah.
Be proud. Yes.
Have fun tonight.
Thank you, Coleman.
And then see the Bugs Bunny anime character here. He's wearing a magician hat. He has the same gentleman outfit. And then he's wearing also la canne. I don't know how to call it. A wang or a can. I don't know. But Moses, even in the desert, had a can. So I guess the deception was taken from truth. And what's interesting too, the tattoo of Rihanna is showing. So 1988, 88, pretty important. So Ocean 8, 8 that represents change in the tarot, okay? 8 also is used as a symbol for infinity, victory, let's say, I don't know. So also in this photo, Rihanna is pregnant, okay? So here we're talking about family, so I think it's important to mention that. And also notice the black and white, okay? I've talked about the chess game. So you can have the same board, have one player and two sides, but it's still the same player playing, okay? So playing both sides. And think of the logo. The logo that best explains this mentality is the yin and yang logo, okay? The black and white logo. Okay, so I also have Babylon in the Hidden Side, where I do explain the symbology of visual. I do have, so that will be available. Okay, so they say they're Jews, but they're of the synagogue of Satan. So I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna comment more on that, but just by the logo also of the flag. So you see a triangle above, a triangle below. So this represents the above and below sign. And this star, also known as the Star of Remphan, sometimes seen with 5 points. Okay, the 5 stars, the 5 point star. It is known as the Star of, both are known as the Star of Remphan and used in the church, the synagogue of Satan. Generally, you will see it in Hollywood, occult. If you know this person or Satan worshiper known as Anton LaVey, okay, his daughter, who's known as, I can't remember her name right now, but her daughter was the spokesperson for the Church of Satan, and she has the same appearance as Taylor Swift. So here, I just want to mention that here we are talking about magicians. We are talking about magic, astral magic, okay? But they're using television, and this is really deception, costumes. So what is witchcraft? I do have a video on that, but witchcraft is really an illusion. It's deceptive. And just like NASA means illusion, deception, beguiled, okay? NASA is basically witchcraft, okay? So all these television shows where you see them in the moon, this is all a perception play, okay? This is just a play. And they're literally laughing at you, okay? They're laughing at the people who believe this crap. And just like God says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. Okay, so let's continue. So I thought it was interesting with this post, okay? So I've talked about Vogue, okay. So the state of Israel, so we know the war, Palestine. Since I was very young, I keep hearing about this war. It's like it's never really ending, okay? So state of Israel is born, okay? So I think, okay, so what is the, I honestly don't know the difference between a state and empire and whatever. But it doesn't really matter, okay? So for now, let's just look at the headlines. So Egyptian Air Force. And think of Egyptian because we know Rihanna represents Nefertiti. And all this sun worship has to do with Lucifer. Lucifer, which represents the sun, the solar system, the deception. Oh la Okay, so Egyptian Air Force. Okay, so Egyptian Jews take over security zones, proclamation of by head of government. And if you haven't watched Land of Liberty, Babylon Hidden Site, I do have here available on my YouTube. Okay, so this was interesting because during that same year, so 1988, think of the tattoo that we just seen of Rihanna showcasing her tattoo, wearing a suit at the Met Gala. Okay, so 1988, that was the first US cover Anna Wintour published in the US, okay, for Vogue. And on the cover, it features the model Michaela Bercu, and she's wearing a Christian Lacroix couture. And then she also has a jacket with a stonewash Guess jeans. And I think I've talked about the symbology of Guess. So it's interesting because see the Vogue cover. So it was in November. The writing are pink. And then on the other side, see Gigi has the same cover that was reproduced. Gigi Hadid, which was published in August in 2014. And it was to pay homage to Anna Wintour's first cover that was published in 1988. Okay, so let's talk about this first model that was used for the magazine cover. And we know that even Playboy did the same. He used a specific figure, okay, a specific image to launch the magazine. This is the top model, Michaela Bercu, and this is also her on the Elle magazine. She's hiding her left eye with a star, 5-star, the star of Ramfan. And this is written Las Estrellas, and Las Estrellas is also a tarot card. And horoscope, we know that has nothing to do with Jesus Christ, okay? Although we know that when Jesus was born, a star appeared at the east, okay? And the three men, or the mage, were following the stars, and the star guided them to Jesus, okay? But in their case, because Satan is a mimicker, a deceiver, he used the same thing as God, because the reason why Satan was cast out from heaven is that he was prideful. He wanted the praise that the angel were giving God. He wanted that praise for himself, okay? So she's known to be a Israelite model with blonde hair and blue eyes, and that reminds me of Hitler. So with Roman nationality, lol, okay, born from Jewish parents in 1967. So anytime they want to promote a figure or have a figure as an influence for the nation, they will, like for example, if they want for this person to appeal to the Haitian, so they will say, oh, this person have 1% of Haitian blood. If they want that person to appeal to the British, they will say that this person has 2% of British inside of them, so etc. So all this DNA lie and whatever. And generally, when you want to know the nationality of someone, but some indications are the features, the face features. The person doesn't have to speak, whether the person is dressed a certain way, just like for the in so-called black, okay? So the nose, the mouth, okay? The skin color. So then this is interesting because that same image that was that they use for Michaela Bercu, the same image Beyonce has. So who has seen Beyonce with black hair? No one. So she has maintained this image of having blonde hair in reference to representing herself as a black person but with blonde hair, and she, I think, is promoting the hair as her own, okay? So there's a reason. And how many black girls nowadays you see with blonde hair? Where do you think it is coming from? Okay, because even Beyonce, she promotes herself as, or at least the image of Beyonce is her being a black woman, but with a lighter skin and with blonde and so-called long hair. Okay, which actually looks like a wig.
Beautiful liar. Tell me how you tolerate the things you just found out about.
So this is definitely not Botox, but she seems to be wearing a mask. And she really has the manner, I feel, and the posing of Beyonce for some reason.
When it's me who's ashamed, and I wish I could free you.
And Beyonce is probably even a man, okay? Because in that scene that you see here, she was referencing Cocky Fresh, and this is a subliminal saying that she's like the Bill Gates, you know? And this was in her Formation music video. Okay, ladies, now let's get information. And she's speaking to the ladies.
Paparazzi, catch my fly and my cocky fresh. I'm so reckless when I rock my Givenchy dress.
And most importantly, she's speaking to the black ladies. Or to the Israelites, the real Israelites. Because why is everyone so obsessed with black people and so-called black people, the Israelites? Because a white person can call himself as a black girl or a black woman because she's practicing black magic. So it has nothing to do with black skin, okay, the skin. And even Jesus, when he was described, he was not described as a black man, but with someone who had like a reddish tone, okay? Okay, so I think it's important to come with this verse and read it. So Isaiah 47, 1-2, it says, "Come down and sit in the dust." So we know that Beyonce means beyond others. She's like the image of Babylon. And it's like in reference to this movie that is called Metropolis, okay? Maria, so-called Maria, she was leading the workers. She was like that Virgin Mary to them. But in reality, she was an abomination, okay? Because she was getting the worship of the workers. So, and she was used as the face of entertainment in the movie, Maria. Okay, so Isaiah 47, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne. O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the milestones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the tights, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel." Ooh. So who are the Chaldeans? So the Chaldeans are the people, well, Beyonce, you know, this music video is Drunk in Love. So it was released during Saturnalia. And Saturnalia, we know Santa Claus. I believe I talk about it in the Egyptian, well, in the previous episodes. So it's really the Santa, you know, the hat, okay, the Pope. So the Chaldeans are known as the people, the Romans or the people celebrating Saturnalia, okay. So these are the Chaldeans, and some people refer to them as Caucasian and so on. Okay, so these are the Chaldeans I've been speaking about. So here in the Bible, the Chaldeans are sort of Assyrians, okay? So they sort of come together. So this is their flag. So see the sun disk, okay, which looks like the eagle, the Lucifer that they worship, also known as the sun god, used in Egyptian practices. Also the color blue and red that gives purple, and white, what we see in the or United States American flag. Then in the middle you have the direction. So think of north, south, east, north, south, east, and Occident. Or I think in my Babylon in Hidden Site web series, I explained in the video title Time, it's more explained. There's more explanation, I should say. Okay, so what's interesting, so these are the Chaldeans. They're known for wearing white and red. Think of Sinta, Sinterklaas, Sin. So this is what we see here. Then they have the false Jesus, portrayed as a blonde with blue eyes, so-called God. Also, the sisters, or, well, the woman seems to have their head covered. Then here, once again, the Chaldeans. Then you have the what looks like the hat of the Pope, the one Rihanna was wearing at the Met Gala in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And this is what we see here. And the Pope, they have a tarot card. So this character is known as a hero, just like Sinter, and he's really focusing or targeting children. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Okay, but I just want to mention this, okay? So the Israelites, although we are the chosen ones, okay, of God before in the Old Testament and still today, the grace is also open to strangers who are willing to accept God as their Lord and Savior, and to accept the truth that He died for our sin, resurrected in 3 days, and now we have access to the Holy Spirit, which is the Spirit of God, okay, Jesus, and the Spirit of the Father intertwined in us. So it's like we're all intertwined in a marriage. Anyway, so it's open to everyone, okay? Think of Abraham. So, okay, so of course we're all talking about Formation, who is Beyonce. So the hat is appearing again. So y'all haters are corny with that Illuminati mess. Paparazzi catch my fly and my cocky fresh. Just like the cocky fresh, like I was saying. I'm so reckless when I walk with my Givenchy dress. Ew, reckless with a dress. I don't know, that's weird. Okay, I'm so possessive, so I rock my rock necklaces. My daddy Alabama, my mama Louisiana, and think of Marie-Louise, okay, a Haitian queen, so-called Haitian queen, but I do believe she was a dark spirit. And then she flew to Italy when her so-called husband died, he was the king Henri Christophe. And then Alabama, see, you mix that Negro with that Creole, make a Texas Bama. So think of Obama, think of the Texas, okay? And we know that Beyonce is from Texas. And I believe there's one time where they were trying to make us believe that Beyonce was a Haitian woman.
My daddy Alabama, mama Louisiana. You mix that Negro with that Creole, make a Texas Bama.
Okay. Then I like my baby hair with baby. Okay, I like my baby hair with baby hair and afros. Okay, I like my Negro nose with Jackson 5 nostrils. Earned all this money, but they never take the country out of me.
I got hot sauce in my bag, swag. I see it, I want it.
I got a hot sauce in my bag, swag. So whatever you are, you still have the roots of whatever you come from. You still have the background of whatever you come from. So I think it's also interesting that they in the lyrics, there's this comparison with Negro and Creole. So Creole, we know that the Creole are actually Hebrews. Creole means in French, les rejetons, you know, les rejetons de David. So, and Negro, that will be referred to Africa. And the thing is, during the war, they brought Africans or Ethiopians, I don't know, they brought Africans to Jerusalem, okay, to Milo, and then the thing is, or they brought them over for war. And the thing is, what was interesting is that, you know, when the French did that, what was in their advantage was the skin color. So they were able to infiltrate the country because of their skin color. But of course, when you look at the features, sometimes, you know, you can tell anyway, but sometimes you can't. Okay. So also, one thing that I'd like to say is that I saw a photo, which I will present very later throughout this American Oxygen music video review series, where Beyonce is, you kind of question if Beyonce is actually a black woman, because I honestly don't believe she is. And is she even a woman? Okay. And notice here the suits once again. So she's in the front, she has the hat, but the guy are in the back and they don't have their hat. So it looks like she has like this, she's the one who dominates the man. Okay, she's also in the front, okay, the front row. She carries the hat, okay? And we know the hat is for magician. They say they're Jews, but they're from the synagogue of Satan. And this goes back to the colonial conquest, okay? So this is, I think this is Bonaparte, but I'm not sure. But this was during the Exposition Universelle. This was a time where the photographers were hired, or scientists, so-called scientists, were hired to take photos of Jews all around the world. And they literally like built a lie with these images, saying that this is what it is called to be black, okay? Being an Israelite means to be black. Being an Israelite means to be cursed, okay? Being an Israelite means that your hair is not beautiful, les cheveux crépus, you know? Being an Israelite means to have a large nose. Being an Israelite means to have burnt skin. Being an Israelite, this and that, okay? The melanin and so-called. But what's so ironic is that most influencers or people that you see today all want to be tan. They all want to be tan. And I don't think Caucasian people understand where this is coming from, okay? Sometimes we're so ignorant, but this is coming from this ideal, the black face. And yes, like, why do you feel the need to be tanner, you know? And for the people that are the red people, why do we feel the need to have blonde hair? I'm not saying that there's no Israelites with blonde hair, but blonde hair and blue eyes. Well, there's a passage in the Bible that says that one of the women were carrying two nations in her belly. One had red hair, okay, and the other was an Israelite with red skin. Okay, so the music video, the lyrics goes like this. I see it, I want it, I stunt yellow bone it. I dream it, I work hard, I grind till I own it. So work. So there is no Sabbath anymore. It's only like working. And it's like your whole payday, you can even buy bread with it, you know? Which was a prophecy. But okay, let's continue. I twirl on them haters, albino alligators, El Camino. I don't know all this. I don't understand. But see, this is interesting. It says, I'm a star, because I slay. And I slay means to kill, because I kill. And I'm a star. So let's go back to this video. I'm a star, because I slay, you know? With Roman nationality. This is really BS. I'm sorry. Okay. So this is literally like the opposite, okay? The opposite. This is an Israelites? Yeah, right. These are the Israelites. And this is a French magician, Colomb, Christophe Colomb. And the irony is like they sell themselves as the people who brought liberty to the people of Israel, when in reality, we're in captivity. So the suit once again, okay? So think of I Have a Dream, Martin Luther King, the evangelist. Martin Luther King. Okay, so let's continue again. So we've talked about being a black face and having a white face. But then again, the music video continues. So this imagery is shown a red man or dark brown man with a white face, let's say, and written in his forehead, vote. Okay, so black in white face, playing both sides, yin and yang, masquerade, chess game, black and white. And think of the Joker. It's the same image that is sold to you. It's just in a different way. The aesthetic is different. So this is the Joker, and this was from The Dark Knight in 2008 by Warner Bros. Then once again, the Joker. I believe this one was the most recent one, and I've watched the movie. I'm sorry, but the movie was really good, but very wicked maybe too. So the Joker is like a psychopath. So he's from the DC Comics character. So he was first introduced in a comics and then brought into television. Since technology is evolving, so-called evolving, because there is nothing new under the sun. So the Joker is literally a tarot card. He's a character, because in Hollywood, any celebrity that you see is playing a character, because most of these celebrities who have a star in the Walk of Fame are fallen angels, or those are the celebrities who have their fingerprints printed on the ground of Los Angeles, which means the Los Angels, the fallen angels, are only characters, okay? Images. It's sorcery. It's witchcraft. It's only there to influence or build a storyline that is false.
Say cheese for the cameras, 8 G's for the dancers, Ben G's in the safe. That's right.
All I have are negative thoughts.
And notice here the black and white, then the red. Okay, it's really important. These colors are, you'll see them very often, especially the black and white, which means that they're playing both sides. So it was released by Warner Bros. So these are the logos of the Warner Bros. But what's interesting here is the W, okay, and then the B, which looks like an 8, okay. Warner Brothers. I think there were like 5 brothers. Okay, so also the Joker is also in the tarot cards. It's the Fool, okay. So the Fool, the meaning behind it, it's addiction. Addiction, any addiction. So whether it's to sugar, whether it's to coffee, whether it's to movies, being wanted to be stimulated, okay. It's the Fool wants fun, okay. It's only seeking pleasure, and that we know that pleasure is leads to poverty. Then manic, so he's really hysteric. It represents spontaneous, so you don't think, you just act without thinking. Very childish. It's wild behavior, mental health problems and issues.
Can you please stop bothering my kid?
A thirst for life, so that means that you're in a death state.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now.
Then lack of discipline, identity. Okay, so it's also it has a problems with identity. So he's holding a black wand, what you see here, a black wand in reference to black magic. Then the clothing is important. See here, he's wearing a dress. So he's like cross-dressing. So we think that the Joker can be played by clowns, but in reality, the Joker, we think the Joker is only played by male, but it can be played by female, okay, using prosthetics. So we don't know who's behind the mask. It's only a masquerade. Okay, so this brings me also to this music video that is called Lavender Nightfall Remix. So bad, not good. Okay, so this brings me to this song or music video that is titled Nightfall remix. It's a electro-psych track by Bad Bad Not Good and K Tronada, and it was released on March 12, 2017 by Doggy Style label and distributed by Empire, and it was interpreted by, of course, Snoop Dogg. So the verse goes like this. So my dogs don't bark, but they get off. And I think it's interesting because even here, see, the fool has a dog here, a white dog. And that reminds me of all the, most of women that promotes this soft life and that promotes this very aesthetically pleasing lifestyle. Most of them have a white dog. F around and get your whole face bit off, sinister, and think of Sinterklaas, sinister, spit truth like a minister. So Sinterklaas is the one spitting truth like a minister. So Sinterklaas dressed as a minister. So until I'm a monster when it's the right time. So at night, so you say minister during the day and at night monsters. When it's the right time, night time, and trying to creep. F the police from a black man's point of view. So think of the BLM, the Black Lives Matter, the movement, okay? And, okay, so think of the riots or the movement, the riot, however you want to call it. And it had nothing to do with the skin color, but instead with black magic, with the Olympic logo, okay? The Santeria, the 5 spirit, spray that ish, say that ish, we write in front of you, each of every one of you. I'm not gonna tell y'all and what we gonna do, but whatever y'all did, put 2 on it and put a foot on your neck with a shoe on it and think of George Floyd. And think about it, this was released in 2017 and the thing with George Floyd was in 2020. And even in the Formation music video by Beyonce, we also see a scene where there's a young boy with a black hoodie that is in front of the police. So they're referencing the BLM movement. Okay, it was because of course it is planned. Okay, and it's prophecy. Okay, so Resident Evil, it's all on camera and they still don't believe you. Okay, so it was the camera were everywhere. So we so-called saw the scene, the act, clowning around. Don't come your clown ass round here. And you gonna get down. Real talk, I'm leaving all you clown ass and outline in chalk. Stay black, pay back from way back. I'm the homie, but the mother effing homie don't play that. So it's all a play, an act. And I think it's interesting. So they all have like blue towels covering their bottom, and then Snoop Dogg has the blue hat. Okay, so it's like the character of a dog, but with human abilities, let's say. Okay, so Snoop Dogg, bad, not good. Okay, so this is the actual video clip. So it started with a family of clowns taking their breakfast and they're like eating Fruit Loops. So just like the pills that looks like candy. Then this article read like this: Clown City. The clip takes place in a universe. So think universe, Universal, Saturn logo, the entertainment logo. Okay, and Universal means the system of Satan. So there's a system of God, okay, the creation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where the days were numbered instead of having like Monday, Sunday, da. And then there's the system of Satan where you have Monday, Tuesday, da, and etc. So populated by clowns, comedian Michael Rapaport stars an ordinary family man who is pulled over and shot by a police officer, and even filmed by a bystander and uploaded to ClownTube in reference to YouTube. And it was an article by Rolling Stone released in March 13 in 2017. So this is the actual screen. So think of YouTube. Think of all the social media tools, the videos, the propaganda that was done when George Floyd was so-called killed and so-called George Floyd. So we'll talk about George Floyd a little later. In that same music video, Donald Trump is portrayed as a clown style. and he's being so-called shot by Snoop Dogg, but it was like a prank. So you see bang, and think of the last story that came out where Donald Trump was so-called shot in the ears. And there's a so-called tweet that was tweeted by so-called Donald Trump. Can you imagine what the outcry would be if Snoop Dogg fell in career and all had aim and fired the gun at President Obama? Jail time. So this is all marketing. So sometimes they're using shock value in order to make people talk. Then see so Donald Trump and the Ronald McDonald clown. So it's literally the same thing. So Donald Trump, you can see him as a character and image. And I can reference even in Florida, the Universal Park. I think there's a building that is called the Hall of Fame or President Hall. Yes, and I think Donald Trump is part of them. With Abraham Lincoln, with Obama, with etc., etc. So it's in reference to Ronald McDonald. So see the color, the yellow and the red. So yellow and red. But what's ironic, so instead the yellow hair and the red face. But here you have the red hair and the yellow outfit, suit. And even when you're wearing a suit, see, it looks like a gel suit, but at the same time, it looks like a plumber, like suit. At the same time, it looks like, when you see the collet, it looks like a gentleman outfit. And then see, it's written culture connection, always buying vintage toys and comics. So nowadays they've mixed toys and comics, and well, Satan did. So he mixed humor, so he makes people laugh and he gives pleasure. But so how can I say, he attracts people through toys, through pleasure and laughter. So you laugh your way to hell. You're laughing your way to hell. And even the McDonald's logo, if you reverse the logo, you get a W. W for war, okay, because it's a war. But it also looks like a 3 if you reverse it. And see, even this drawing, this looks like a land d'enchantement. It looks like a lie. The environment looks like a lie. Okay, so the same goes. So the clown, the suit, the fake Jews, the jubilee, the McDonald's, the lie, the deception. So it's a masquerade. So I'd like to talk about the masquerade ball that takes place in France, dans un château. Okay, so we've known about the mansions, party in mansions. There is a lot of movie about it, and real life experience. So this is a photo of a masquerade ball that took place in France. So see the white face. So who is behind? I don't know. And that reminds me of the movie that is called Purge, The Purge. It looks exactly like it. Okay, so this is the mansion. Okay, à ton châtel. Okay. Then the same goes. The masquerade takes place once again in Toulouse, in the Caen streets. So this is in the city of French Guiana. And it's a Guineas Creole French. So they also have this parade that is known as Nègre Marron. So it's literally like red people or so-called black people that is covering them, that is wearing the black face. So it's really the point that I'd like to make. Black has nothing to do with the skin color, because we were described as maybe Airain. Anyway, but black and Caucasian people are not the only one who wears the black face. Even Caribbeans and Africans also do this practice, because in reality it's a ritual. Okay, it has to do with witchcraft, but it's really a ritual. So you take la boue, okay, you take the soil or la boue and you put it on your skin. So sometimes it's a white face, sometimes it's a black face. And also this photo here, it's zombie balayé. okay, taken in 2024 in the streets of French Guiana. So that looks like le Ku Klux, the white hood fashion. And think of the black hood, white hood, okay, the hoodie. Where do you think this is coming from? So once again, the masquerade ball, this is more modern. Well, today in the Hollywood fashion. So see, when Doja Cat was entering her 27th birthday, okay, when she was 27, she celebrated with a masquerade team. And we know this thing that is called the Club des 27, the 27 Club. So here in the photo, you see, please. So this is Doja Cat here. Then you have Normani. This looks like a Ryan Destiny, I'm not sure. Then you have this, I can't remember her name. You have Justin Sky. Then I don't know these people. Okay. Who is this guy? He looks familiar. Is he like the R&B singer? I don't know. So this was Doja Cat's 27th birthday with a masquerade theme on a Friday in Los Angeles. And Friday means Freya's day, Freya. So it's once again a demon. So in Los Angeles, meaning lost angels, the fallen angels. Okay, and see here, the masquerade looks a little more loud. Now it's more about the lingerie, half a face covered. Okay, it's more glamorous, let's say. It's more glamorous. But the clown, the McDonald's clown, is not as glamorous, but it's all the same. So then, of course, in 1880, the Charles Hermanès at the Masquerade. So see, it was more like, it looks like chic. The men are wearing suits, okay? And the women are wearing dresses with masks. So these women could be like it's a masquerade, basically. Okay. So let's continue. So the music video, this image goes. So this frame was interesting because this is representing half a face. When you see the profile of someone, and think of the mugshots, the selfie is really a representation of mugshot. Okay, so once again, the music video, you see this image. So it reminded me, it's like a path, okay, that looks like a race path, and with the flag, the US flag all around. Okay, and it reminds me, the reference is the drag race, and think of RuPaul. Because masks don't only exist as these things. Sometimes it's with makeup, sometimes it's with prosthetics, sometimes it's with fashion, sometimes it is, or just a character that you're playing. So it's exactly it. So this is the RuPaul drag race, and once again the black and white comes back. The chess floor. Checker, is it checker? Or chess? Anyway, the checkerboard or chessboard. Okay. Oh my God. And think here, Minneapolis. Wow. Because these are the candidates of the first season. So this is the first season. I think this was the first season cover. Okay. So see the hat, the magician hat. And she sort of looked like Prince. Anyway. So, yeah, it looks like absurd. This is like Madonna. I don't know. This is like a Latina, maybe. Yeah. And this is the black man. Okay, Wendy Williams. Okay, Wendy Williams. So what I thought was interesting is that, Prince and even the car with George Floyd, it was written Minneapolis. So I thought that was interesting for the first season. The one who had the first place is Bebe Zahara Bennett. Okay, she was 28. She was the winner, and she's from Minnesota. I think Prince is from Minnesota. I think he is. So Denver, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Las Vegas. So I think there's a meaning behind these, how can I say, these contestants and the winners, because everything is an act. It's just an act. Everyone is playing a role and they stick to the role. They're selling an image in order to influence, okay? So this was America's Next Drag Race Superstar. the season. It was released and season was first filmed during summer of 2008, and it was released, it premiered on February 2009. So of course, Drag Race, so you think of the Olympics, you think of sports, because race, race. So of course, we have to talk about Bruce Jenner. So Bruce Jenner is an athlete, and we know what the Olympic logo represents. I've shown it several times. So he's wearing a red and blue, which are the flag of the US. So Bruce Jenner crosses the finish line at the Decathlon in Montreal in 1976. And then years later, in July 2015, here is Call Me Caitlyn. So from Bruce Jenner, so Caitlyn, formerly known as Bruce Jenner. And in this photo, it's for Vanity Fair as a cover. So he's wearing a white, which represents purity. And even this section here is on purpose uncovered. The V section, the guest section. And this was taken by Annie Leibovitz. Of course, she's like the main photographer for Vogue. Then once again, Drag Race, sports, okay. And also we know the controversy. The Drag Race, there's, well, for the Olympics, there's this big subject about men competing with women, okay? So this is not only about sports, because that we know the 5 rings of the Olympic represents Centeria, represents the five most powerful principalities that exist. Dark matter, darkness. And I think I have shown the logo, yeah, okay. So gender war. Okay, so then let's talk about China. So China, she's an American actress, a Playboy model. And we know that Playboy, both side, the two, And also when you do the Playboy sign, it's like between your two legs. It's like, guess what's between the two legs, So she was also a professional wrestler. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, remember that, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, and etc. So she's known as a professional wrestler for the WWE. So this is for women, okay, so-called women. And honestly, she doesn't really look like a woman, but people will say she is. But this physique, even though if you train like very hard, I don't know. Okay, so China, Triple H in 1997. So they were known to date, so-called date. So this is her again, Joanie Loré, aka China, at the 27 Scream Awards. And to be honest, I just wonder, is that a mask? Because we often say, oh, this is Botox, this is Botox. But what if this was a mask? Just like Charlie Chaplin. What if China was supposed to be black? And now we have a white face. Just like Black China, okay? And I think I did a video that is titled Barbie, Playing Doll. I do talk about Black China and the image of Black China and China in general. And also she's wearing a pink here. Haha. Okay. So, attends, wait. Oh, that's it. Okay. Okay, so if you've liked this video, like, comment, share, let me know your thoughts. And do you have anything interesting to add to this visual research? Okay, so also the music, the background music, I do have it available here on YouTube as a music video. But if you're a content creator and you need music for your content, I do have the music that you can purchase directly on my website, jcemileboutique.com. Yeah, so the music is royalty free, so you can enjoy it for your content.
Embrace yourself, not someone else. Embrace the trace, not someone else's. I had no chance. I'm just a doll, out of control. I just play roles.